I want you to listen to the first few minutes of Jeremy from Financial Education talking about how he's sick and tired of this market. And then after this, I have a message for you. So let's go ahead.
Before we get into today's video, and I have a lot to share with you guys, I just want to speak from the heart for a moment, okay? To be quite honest, I'm sick and tired of this market. I'm sick and tired of constantly having to talk about all the bad news that's going on in the financial markets. And there's a bunch more bad news I got to share with you today in the crypto space, in the stock market space, in the overall economy. All three of those, I got bad news to share with you guys. All stuff that's just come out here. It's very bad. And I read comments sometimes recently, and it's like, I'm unsubscribing. All you speak about is negative stuff now, and just like those type of vibes, right? And like, I hate it. I hate it just as much as you. I wish I could just talk about the positives. And it feels like it's been like for a while now. It's just negative. It's not fun to, every day I wake up and automatically assume I lost money in the market, right? Because that's all that's been happening for quite some time. Every day I wake up and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make a video. What's going on bad? Because that's just the reality we're in right now, right? It's just bad news. There's things to be optimistic about long term, but in the short term, there's basically nothing to be optimistic about, to be quite honest, in the financial markets. And I don't care if we're talking about the stock market space, the crypto space, and especially real estate moving forward. And so therefore, I just want to be quite frank. I'm as tired of it as you guys are, but at the same time, it's like, what are we going to do? Like, put on, as they say, rose-colored glasses, right? And act like everything's perfect and, there's nothing bad going on. I got to call it the way I see it. I got to show what's actually going on. And the fact is, things are bad and things are getting worse, to be quite honest. And so I just want to speak from the heart there on that. And I'm an optimistic person. I can't wait to the days I can be optimistic again and we get to talk about the good stuff. And, this company's earnings just went up this much and this company's revenue just went up this much, right? And this industry's booming and the next great opportunity and things like that. But we're not in that time period right now. We're going through a crash, right? And going through crashes, if I was on YouTube in 2008, I would have been talking about all the bad stuff that was going on in 2008. There was nothing to be optimistic of, right? And so.
Okay. So, few things that he said. There's nothing to be optimistic about. And if he had a YouTube channel in 2008, there would be nothing positive to talk about, right? You see, what does this and this have in common? Any guesses? This was written in the middle of a 2008-2009 financial crisis. This was written in the 2020 sell-off, okay? If you look through the stock ideas in both of these books, how did they turn out? I was writing them when there was nothing to be optimistic about. That's what this is all about. The best from the rest. Do you understand this? Anybody can read what's 3 inches in front of the face. Anybody can read the newspapers. Anybody can get depressed at the same time. Anybody can watch negative articles all at the same time. That's not the point, okay? The point, there's only one important thing. One important thing that can separate you from the best. You can be the best, and then there are the rest. It's not the technicals, it's not the macro. There's only one thing that matters, and it is competition. Competition. What kind of competition do you have right now? Who is positive? Who is optimistic? He represents, and I'm not criticizing him, he represents the market. The way he feels, the way the market feels. So if the market is so petrified, tired of negative news, exhausted from owning anything, What kind of competition do you have for assets or businesses? It doesn't matter if those assets are growing, if the businesses are running or on all cylinders, if they're have huge record earnings. It doesn't matter, okay? Because even if something is not running on full cylinders, it could be an incredible value, okay? You have to program yourself to know what to do in these moments. Do you become a victim? Do you panic with them? Or do you, what Warren Buffett is talking about, be greedy when others are fearful and be fearful when others are greedy? I know people like to quote him all the time, but I don't see too many people doing this. Everybody is fearful when everybody is fearful. Everybody is negative when everybody is negative. And yet, I'm the only one who writes these books at the exact moment where everybody is fearful. When I was writing this book, I thought I was going to explode because my editor was being somewhat slow on this. I needed this book to be released ASAP because I knew that sometime in 2020, it was going to turn because the sentiment was so horrendous. It didn't matter how these businesses performed. Like, what was so positive about the economy in 2020? We were closing down the world. What was so positive about it? Nothing was positive. Everybody was panicking. We were all gonna die. That's when you buy. That's when you go heavy. That's what separates the best from the rest. Now, just because you do something doesn't mean your stock prices are not gonna go down more. I was buying in 2008, 2009. Yes, my positions went down. But how did they turn out? Looking back now, how did it turn out? Look at all the ideas in this book. How did it turn out from the bottom of 2020? Okay? We are going through the same moment again. I can't tell you when it's going to turn, but I know one thing. Nobody wants to buy anything. Everybody is negative. Everybody is reading the same news. Who's buying assets? How many people are buying assets? They're looking at technicals. Technicals look terrible. They're looking at Fed. That looks terrible. They're looking at macro. That looks terrible. They're looking at YouTube videos. That looks terrible. What kind of competition do you have? You have no competition. You can pick all the businesses doing great. You can pick the best assets in the world and you can get them for pennies on a dollar. Why? Because everybody is on strike. Know this. Everybody is on strike. That's what separates. Realizing this is what separates the best from the rest.